Hey, what's up, y'all? So, as most of you probably know by now, if you keep up with the coaster news at all, the complete blueprints for Kings Island's new for 2020 B&M Giga were leaked online earlier this week. I think a few folks actually uploaded them, but I found these high-res scans from Swiftman, so thanks to him for sharing them for everybody to see. So anyway, after all the hype over the past few years for Giga to come to Kings Island, a lot of people ended up being really disappointed by what they saw. I'm going to bypass all that altogether because I have a different, much more positive opinion of the ride from what we've seen, and I want to share that with you. So yeah, the ride looks short. If you consider 301 feet tall and roughly 5,000 feet long, short. But I tend to prefer shorter, relentless rides. So to me, this layout looks great. It's got a lot packed into it, and it really seems to have a great flow from start to finish. Plus, I think there are a couple of standout elements and highlights on it that I'm really looking forward to seeing implemented. If we take a look at the overall layout, the lift is allegedly, I think, roughly 280 feet tall or so. It's all been worked out online. The first drop is at 301 feet, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that the measurement is 300.9 feet tall. So some folks are already speculating, well, is it actually a Giga because it's not actually 300 feet tall? I mean, come on, it's a Giga. It's got a 300-foot drop. But following that first drop, which I'm sure will be awesome, I'm sure it'll be really steep, like Leviathan and Fury and I-305 and Millennium Force. Following that, we get a tall overbanked hill, and then what looks to be a reverse Fury 325 turnaround. I did one of these roughly a year ago or so in No Limits on one of my builds, and I really like the way it turned out, so I'm excited to actually try that out in person. So after you come out of that turn with that sideways air, that'll be awesome. There are going to be two back-to-back airtime hills, roughly 50-ish feet high or so. The train should be screaming through this section. If you've been on Fury 325, you know those low to the ground sections, you're just flying. So I'm guessing this part is really going to be a standout section of this ride with lots of air. So there's a little bit of debate about what's up next. Most people seem to think that we're going to get North America's answer to Shambhala's infamous ampersand turn. But I've also heard speculation that this helix will be more in line with something similar to Apollo's Chariot. Either way, knowing B&M and Cedar Fair, there will probably be some fun forces involved here. So I think it'll be a nice part of the ride. Maybe it'll probably be pretty intense and maybe cause you to gray out just a little. So then finally, the train sort of winds back around to line up with the brake run, and you have another sideways airtime hill just before the brakes. I really like this as the finale for the ride. I'm glad to see B&M performing the same maneuver twice on a ride. I'm glad to see them doing more of this sort of RMC-ish sideways action that they first implemented on Fury. I think that's going to make a nice ending to the ride with the sideways airtime. So yeah, it is on the shorter side, but I tend to look at it a bit differently. I've ridden 3 of the 4 Gigas in North America, and that includes Fury, Millennium Force, and Intimidator. Of those 3, I probably like I-305 the best. It too is a fairly short ride, but a short ride from that height, especially when you're low to ground for a lot of it, is most likely going to be really intense. Fury has a stellar first half, yes, but the second half is not quite as exciting to me, particularly once you hit that break after you go under the tunnel. The ending is just sort of like a slow hyper. And while I really love the sustained floater you get on Millennium Force, there's also quite a bit of pointless meandering around on that ride. So to me, this Kings Island layout looks like it really combines a lot of action in a short period of time. And I think most of us are going to hit the brakes with a huge smile on our faces rather than feeling disappointed. So for anyone who's not feeling it at the moment, just remember there are plenty of rides out there that are much better than their stats might suggest. So of course there's some that are worse too, but I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to blow us all away. So anyway, I'm always interested in hearing your comments or opinions. Leave them down below. Otherwise, I will talk to you next time. Take care and enjoy the ride.